in those days, and also after that. Genesis 6:4.
They came from above, not quite gods, but not men either. Not demons, not yet. Beings of knowledge and rebellion, of lust and judgment. They watched, they waited, and then they descended. Their story begins before the flood, before Babylon, before the tower, or the tablets, or the testaments, before evil had a name. These are the Watchers, and their offspring, Nephilim, the giants, the fallen, the forgotten. Let's go back, way back, Genesis 6. It's easy to skip over this passage. Most do. But here, hidden beneath the genealogies and flood warnings, is something strange. The sons of God saw that the daughters of men were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. In the Hebrew, sons of God is B'nai Elohim, a phrase that appears elsewhere in reference to divine or semi-divine beings, not men, not metaphor. According to the book of Enoch, these weren't just angels. They were watchers, Grigori, tasked with observing humanity, assigned, loyal, distant, until they weren't. Led by a being named Shemi-Hazar, 200 watchers descended upon Mount Hermon. They made a pact, a rebellion, bound themselves by oath. No turning back. Their desire, women, earthly knowledge, a taste of chaos. In Islamic tradition, we find two names, Harut and Marut, angels sent to Babylon to test humanity. They were supposed to resist sin, to guide, but instead they fell to the same temptations they condemned: lust, wine, arrogance. Azazel, too, gets his name stained across history, a corrupted angel, a forger of swords. He taught men war, women adornment, beauty and violence, twin flames of destruction. The book of Enoch lays it bare. Azazel taught men to make swords and knives, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them. The Watchers didn't just lust, they taught. They gave forbidden knowledge, an inversion of Prometheus, but darker, more permanent. The women of Earth bore children. They were not normal children. They were Nephilim, giants in strength and stature, but not just in size. They were mighty men, men of renown, Genesis 6:4. But their renown brought ruin. The Nephilim devoured, destroyed. Not just warriors, some say they became kings, tyrants, gods in memory. In the Canaanite tradition, they echo in the shadows of Baal's enemies. In Mesopotamia, they mirror the Apkallu, semi-divine sages, some good, some drowned in the flood. The union of heaven and earth had broken something sacred, and the flood wasn't just about humans. The God of Genesis sends the flood, but the book of Enoch says it wasn't just human wickedness. The Watchers' children, the Nephilim, had poisoned the earth, taught cannibalism, bloodshed, sorcery, a divine reset. Heaven declared war on its own fallen. The archangel Raphael was sent to bind Azazel in the desert. Others were hurled into the abyss, an endless pit called Dudael. And the Nephilim drowned, but not all. Were all Watchers corrupted? That's debated. In Jewish mysticism, particularly the Enochic tradition, there are gradations. Some Watchers fell by desire, others by loyalty to their brethren. Some may have only watched and wept. And here's the twist. Some scholars argue that Enoch himself, the man who walked with God, was transformed into Metatron, a being above angels, a reversal of the fall. Balance. The Watchers taught forbidden arts. From the Book of Enoch, Shemihaza taught enchantments, Barakel taught astrology, Kokabel, star patterns, Penemu taught writing, Kazdeja revealed abortion. These were not just practical skills, they were tools of power, control, rebellion against fate, knowledge twisted into arrogance. The Watchers weren't inventors, they were interveners. They took what should have been divine timing and forced it early, a sin of acceleration. Some say the wisdom of Solomon, the rites of the Magi, even the mystic practices of the Dead Sea Scroll community draw from this well of fallen knowledge. Goliath wasn't just big, he was part of a remnant. The Rephaim, the Anakim, the Zamzumim, tribes of giants in the Old Testament. Survivors of the Nephilim lineage? Maybe. Deuteronomy 3:11 speaks of Og, king of Bashan, whose bed was nearly 14 feet long. Coincidence or a dying bloodline? And further back still, Cain, the cursed, the wanderer. What if the Watchers found Cain's daughters? What if their union polluted both lines? From Cain to Canaan, from Eden to Hermon. Bloodlines with scars. The Dead Sea Scrolls unearthed fragments of Enoch and Jubilees, forgotten books once banned, now resurrected. And in Solomonic tradition, demons bound, names of angels invoked, command over spirits. Solomon may have used the very names of Watchers and fallen angels to build his temple. The Testament of Solomon links these spirits directly to magic and healing. Nebuchadnezzar, too, saw a vision of Watchers in the book of Daniel. A Watcher, a Holy One, came down from heaven. Daniel 4:13. Watcher, still holy, still neutral, or something else? Here's where philosophy creeps in. The Watchers are an inversion of Prometheus. They gave fire, not for freedom, but for power. It burned too hot, too fast. In myth and in mind, they challenge the divine order. But is that evil, or simply disobedience? Ben Sira, ancient Jewish wisdom text, warns against pride, against knowing too much. Maybe the origin of evil isn't malice, but impatience, the desire to play God before knowing what that even means. And Metatron? If Enoch became him, a man elevated above angels, then the fall isn't always down. Sometimes it's sideways. Mount Hermon is still there. The caves are still there. Some say the Watchers never left. Maybe they're bound. Maybe they're jinn. Maybe they whisper through dreams. Maybe their knowledge survives in plain sight, in books, systems, empires. In the Adamic tradition, all humanity descends from one man. But the shadows? They descend from many. And they're still watching. The story of the Watchers isn't just a tale of rebellion. It's a question. How much knowledge is too much? What happens when we learn before we're ready? It's not about gods or demons. It's about limits, boundaries, and the price of breaking them. Philosopher Emil Cioran once said, "Only one thing matters, learning to be the loser." Maybe the Watchers lost, so we could learn. Until next time, keep questioning, keep searching beyond the structure of what you know.